June 2006. Here we are back at the Winterfest site, Galice Creek, Oregon. Take a second here to document the discharge from our holding pond. Anyway, here's our operation. In ancient riverbed, and this is all clay and light stuff, volcanic ash deposit up on top. Not unlike Cracker Creek in that way. But then here's the river gravel underneath. We don't know how much farther down the bedrock is, but I can tell you no one else has dug down any farther than we have, or any farther in at this point. But along this whole wall, people have mined little pockets. Up above where Kurt and Bill were mining at Winterfest. I mined on the other side in a spot that that John Adams had picked out, and got a little bit, but I kind of wished I'd come over here. So that's why we set up over here this time. And we panned a couple little nuggets out of there. I'm not seeing any fine gold at all, but there are little chunky pieces, and John Adams said he wouldn't be surprised at all if we get a few corn kernel sized pieces. Well, we'll see about that. But I know we're getting some gold. Anyway, we'll see what it is later. I won't make any ridiculous optimistic predictions on the gold content. So I have no idea. I can just say that we're getting some. The way the machine is set up here, we use no frame, no support frame whatsoever. Just lay the jets right on the ground, downhill to the machine. So of course I had a very elaborate detecting conveyor to go on the back of this thing, and we actually did have it working. It was working successfully, but what it was not doing is keeping up with the output of the trommel. So we could easily overwhelm the conveyor at the speed it's running. So that we also had some problems with the guarding, but it was actually detecting targets and ejecting them off. So all the components work, just needs more fine-tuning. There it is right there. And over here we got a little drift mine. So John said something about we get into the best gold about 25 feet in, which of course we're certainly not going to go 25 in anywhere we are, but someone apparently has dug in farther and farther. Now somewhere in there is the bedrock of that old channel. Good gold here. They've been taking good gold out of here for about 140 years. Believe it or not. One of the locals told me the biggest piece he ever heard of was a 5-ounce piece coming out of these gravels up here. I'll go to night vision mode. I'm not going to go in, but I'm going to stick the camera in and zoom it a little bit. Oh, it doesn't go in very far. Yeah, I can see it. Only goes in a few feet. No, I'm close enough. Alright. There it is. Well, I wouldn't call it exactly a drift mine, more like a little drift sampling hole, but that's it. These kids are supervising now. Say it again. Say it again. Richard has his foot method that he uses. Okay, so as soon as I shut the camera off, Richard tells me that he just saw what he is pretty sure was a good sized nugget go up the nozzle here.
I stubbed my toe on it.
Stubbed his toe on it. But we'll see. He saw that clay. There's pockets of clay. John Adams described it as like as good pottery clay. And actually, here's a sample of it right here in the pan. I mean, these pockets of clay, there's nothing there but this clay, but the point is that nuggets will be sitting on top of it frequently. And down here, where we're working, the bottom of the hole, I'm seeing more and more of this type of clay. I mean, actually, we did pan a little nugget. We did pan a little nugget out of this right here, believe it or not. So we haven't cleaned up yet. We're just going to continue to mine until we're done, and then we'll see what we got. But, you know, out of about 4 pans that we took out of here, 2 of them had nuggets in them. Small nuggets, but they're nuggets nonetheless. So we're pretty excited about the gold here on Galice Creek. Now this is what's working against us here, is that all our water is captured in this holding pond, but the holding pond will only hold a certain volume of water. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just continue to work until the holding pond is full, and then we'll stop. Probably about another 40 minutes or so. So depending on what we get for gold, we may bring the engine and pump up here and set it up, and then we can run out of the holding pond at least for you know, like the rest of the day or as much as we're going to mine. So I cannot let this holding pond breach. So I promised John Adams I would be diligent about making sure that all our silt stays in that holding pond, and we are in compliance, and there is 0 discharge into the creek. Four-month-old puppy. She's a good girl. She's a good dog. Really good dog. Little blue heeler pup.
I'm gonna go first for all trap.
So we alternate between kicking the rocks out, pushing the material through, and then blasting at that clay, blasting it apart. And you know, I even had that stuff by hand in that gold pan trying to break that clay down, and I couldn't do it. But these spray nozzles, a couple of spray nozzles in there, it only takes a few minutes, and that stuff is completely liquefied.
Not over there.
Ben, keep it down there. There you go. Perfect. On target. Okay, so gold nugget right there. Okay, here's the gold that we got.
Okay, I wish I could touch one.
You will.
And see if
There's a couple of the nuggets.